Let's talk about Bill Burr in this context. So we have this story from CBR. The Mandalorian Bill Burr defends Gina Carano slams cancel culture. Comedian, actor, and podcaster Bill Burr calls out the toxic nature of cancel culture and defends his fired Mandalorian co-star Gina Carano. Well, good for him. Absolutely. But this story about Gina Carano exactly exemplifies what you were just saying about why take the risk. You sign with one of these companies. They could just snap their fingers and fire you because you said a word someone didn't like at some point, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year.
Take it away as quick as they gave it to you.
Yeah, and the problem is, let's say you sign a deal that says, like, maybe they're buying you out, or maybe they're like, okay, we're going to buy your show, we'll own it, and we'll pay you this large sum of money, and it's like, here's the money up front for the show, and then you'll get X amount of dollars to continue producing the show as lead producer, executive. And then they also have a morality clause where it says if you do anything obscene, they could terminate you. You're like, I got this really great deal. It's awesome. Let's be real. Joe Rogan, I'd have to imagine that Spotify has some control in that regard.
Yeah.
Where they could, be like, oh, look what you said. And, we terminate.
I don't want to necessarily, talk about Joe's deal because who the hell knows. But I think that all of this stuff, they want to take this as just a given. You know that old thing where it's like these people think they can just move chess pieces around and, people don't react to what happens. But the truth is, like, I know people with normal jobs and they go there and they make them sign the clauses about what they put on Twitter and what they put on Facebook. And you go, people are starting to realize this when they get this. Now, the same way that if someone gives you a job and you go, oh, it's 50 miles away from my house, that's going to be a bit of a pain. The same way you're getting a contract that says, you can't be on Twitter, you can't do this. So all it takes is for other companies to realize, like, there's monetary values on all of these things. If I go, okay, I get 60 grand here for whatever, my middle job or whatever, but I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Or this place is offering, 65 grand, but they kind of, is this 5 grand worth me not? But a
lot of people don't know
I think
this.
people are starting to factor these things intrinsically. The level of what these places are asking for you. They want you to act like you're the president to work at a friggin' bank.
Well, let me read a little bit from Bill Burr to show you what he said. For those unfamiliar, Gina1 she was one of the stars on The Mandalorian, the Disney Plus show. It's a Star Wars show. And she posted on Instagram. The photo she used was of actual Nazi Germany. Probably not a good photo to use. But the context was, don't demonize your neighbors over their political views. She didn't compare anybody to Republicans or anything like that.
She actually just posted the Amazon logo.
Yeah, it was just the Amazon logo. Yeah. But here's what Bill Burr said. They said on the Bill Burr podcast, he said she was an absolute sweetheart, super nice effing person. Unless she did some truly horrible ish or said some overtly racist ish, he continued. I don't know. I think there is just too many channels. And then you got to do sensational-ish. I don't know what the F it is. I'm on that effing show. Now I got to watch what the F I say. I think that was actually great on Bill Burr's part.
Yeah. But it represents the everyman.
But that's the point. They could cancel him for this. They could cancel him for this. He's probably got a morality clause in his contract that says if you say something offensive, but who defines offensive? So he comes to the defense of Gina Carano saying she was super effing nice. Oh, give me 2 seconds for some woke leftists to get angry. And then Disney's going to be like, Bill, you can't come out and defend this stuff. No, they're probably not going to do it. But they could if they want to. Who in their right mind would sign a dumb contract like that?
Well, this is for him specifically. He doesn't need these things. And he's in the position of power a little bit. Where if they go, oh, we kick him off this show. He go, oh, whatever. Okay, whatever. It's the 10th thing I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's like a power dynamic when it stops being something you need and something that you could do or not do.
But there is a bigger issue there. The cascade effect. If he gets canceled from the show and then Disney issues a statement saying he defended racist comments and was extremely offensive and we had no choice, then other companies might be like, look, there's a backlash going on. We don't want to absorb any of that.
Not to just be like the complete like free market will sort it out guy. But yeah, and if that happens, the next generation of people like me and my friends are going to be like, no, don't take a job on those places, dude. Do you remember what happened to Bill Burr?
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah. So
I won't. This is why I don't sign any of these contracts. I know that if I sign any of these deals with any one of these networks, it's a matter of time.
Yeah, dude,
I don't even trust these.
Live like that.
I don't even trust these conservative networks. I don't think they would have your back if you said something you truly believe.
Well, also, even if they will right now in this context of like the culture war dynamic, what does that look like in a year and a half? I don't know, man. Things change pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would argue many of the conservative channels have much more integrity than many of the traditional Hollywood type stuff. I just wouldn't sign those deals.
Ideally, in my, what I've kind of said, I like the idea of a non-partisan network to begin with. Like, even when, like, think about music, it's kind of like what you want is like a guy that's like, hey, I don't really get it, but the kids seem to. Not a guy that like has a lot to say to you. What you want is a network that's like, yep, people seem to be responding to this. It's funny. Or,
Right.
Tim seems to have a big audience. People like it. We should get him on the, as
You
opposed to.
want a person who's going to be like, oh, so we host this one guy. The left hates him. He's really offensive. We don't know a whole lot about, we don't care too much. It makes money for us. We do have this lefty guy in our network, though, and he does these things. The conservatives really hate him. When you want somebody who approaches like a business.
That's what I think that a lot of people, like, even the younger people, are kind of looking at it like that.
But
I don't care what your political values are, which is.
But the bigger issue is when they're scared and it's a business. They say, we don't want to lose half our customers because they're freaking out. So bye-bye.
Yeah, with Gina Carano, I didn't know who she was before the scandal, and Bill Burr's a superstar. So like they look at their bottom line, they're like, we can afford to lose Gina, we can't afford to lose Bill.
Well, Bill Burr's a comedy superstar. He's not like an A-list Hollywood actor in that
Right.
context. I mean, I don't know exactly what the hierarchy looks like, but it's the little world I live in. Some of these people, we go, oh, that's the biggest guy in the world, and then
He swears a lot.
Yeah, but Matt Damon walks in, and everyone goes, oh, freaking Matt! You realize the difference.
Isn't the weirdest thing? It's just like, why? Who cares?
Well, obviously, who cares? But that's just the way the world is.
This is a really interesting subject because I don't think we talked with Ethan Suplee about this specifically on the show, but we did briefly touch on it. I wanted to get into this more, but this idea that the traditional idea of fame is over because now you have HBO Max. I think it's called HBO Max, where they're doing simultaneous theater releases and streaming releases. So people aren't going to go to the movie theaters for these big movies and spend $20 per person anymore. For the most part, they're going to spend $20 for the whole movie and then watch it with like 50 people at their house while they order pizza or whatever. So why would someone cast Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, who was the person you mentioned?
Ben Affleck,
Damon?
Matt Damon.
One of
One
Damon.
of those.
One of
One
those
of
guys.
the two brothers.
You book them because you put their name on top of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that way people see it in the marquee and they see it in the ads and they say, ooh, I want to go see this, and they go to the theaters. I think now that there's so many different streaming services, so many different movies coming out. Like I mentioned, that one movie Spiral came out on Shudder. It just came out. I watched it. It's not a blockbuster movie, but all the movies are basically being made equal at this point.
Yeah.
Sure, there'll be big marketing and big budget campaigns. How did that work out for Wonder Woman? Apparently Wonder Woman like fizzled and made barely any money because it was a streaming release.
Yeah, and that's
So
with me
why-
renting it 50 times.
Yeah, I know, and I signed up for 50 accounts to buy it because I just love Gal Gadot. No, but seriously, why pay Gal Gadot, $20 million to do a movie when you don't need her name on it because it's not going to do that well anyway?
Yeah, especially when they've lost, like, Hollywood mastered their star-making formula, the way that certain labels have in the past or whatever. Like, they were able to make her and then, sign her to these contracts,
Yep.
and it was all part of the system. So they bring people in and they make them, the next Gal Gadot,
Yep.
whatever it is, right? But they're doing everything in their power to, like, ruin their vouch and their star system. So when I go back to the younger kids, and I think me and you are around the same age, so we're in the middle, there's a lot of young people right now that they've mastered. They have these huge Instagram accounts, huge
Yep.
YouTube channels.
TikTok.
They know how to make another guy. So, I talked about the Nelk boys. I just think those guys are interesting. But they literally brought another guy in, got him to 1 million followers, got his channel to 1 million followers. Then they're like, we should start a management company. They basically mastered star making the same way that Hollywood has. So
Just call.
at the same time, Hollywood's wrecking their star making because they go, check out this comic. They're so funny. And everyone goes, huh? They go, what about this one? They go, huh? And then everyone's like, we got to stop paying attention. So these guys are wrecking their star making formula.
Think about it.
Same time everyone else is figuring it out.
Hollywood is like Blockbuster Video. They've basically become the old, stodgy, uncool, or they're becoming old, stodgy, and uncool. Like you mentioned, like kids know how to make stars themselves. They know how to use social media. They don't need the system anymore. But it's also, the worlds are completely separate. Like the ad revenue system on traditional media is so different from digital media.
It's changing though. It's getting close. Like a lot of these places. I mean, YouTube is worth more than Instagram, and it's all based on how people buy. But it's not that crazy different.
Well, but it kind of is. Check this out. When you buy an ad on, say, Tucker Carlson's show, you're not going to get, like, the numbers you get for Tucker's ratings are an estimate based on a sample size from, like, Nielsen boxes.
Fake boxes that no one's actually using.
I mean, so you're hoping it's true.
Yeah.
And it's probably close. With digital, we know the exact number. So what happens
And
is,
you know the exact demographic of that number.
well, so with the internet, you can refine your ads and really maximize your price point and your profit. With buying ads on TV, they basically tell you, here's how much it costs for an ad. It's like, you know, some websites say it's like Rachel Maddow's like $8,500 for a commercial to run on her, you know, on her channel. These advertisers will pay
Not very much money.
Yeah, it used
for
to
a
be
big
like
business,
20,
right?
Go try to buy
or something.
go try to buy a commercial on Logan Paul's podcast. I'm sure
Right.
it's more than that.
Absolutely. Way more than that. I guarantee you it's going to cost way more than that.
Yeah.
So and she's getting, she gets at what, like 2 to 3 million.
And premium ads. He's got Nike. I was watching, when you watch Fox News, I told you this earlier, but it made me laugh so much that they can't get good sponsors, so they have sleep apnea mask cleaner.
That's Fox.
And just, they have the funniest ads, like orthotics, remover.
So I'll write this point up and then we'll get into that a little bit. Basically, these advertisers spend the $8,000 and then just look at their sales and see if they go up, and then try and figure out if the ad campaign worked. With online, I can literally see people click the link.
Well, yeah, the
I
promo
know if the
codes.
link is actually working.
Yeah.
So what's happening is, in a lot of ways, there's more ad space, there's more real estate for ads, so the prices go down. But anyway, I digress. The main point of this is it's a totally different world based on a lot of guessing. And now it's going away. It's becoming worth less and less and less. Fox News is running pillow commercials and sleep apnea commercials. Rachel Maddow's ads are like, I got to tell you, man.
And they're not even the parts that they can. And to go back to, because you're so right, but the even worse part of it is that even the data they do have, they don't want to listen to for other reasons. It's the equivalent of they go, actually, this is what they like. There's a huge market for this perspective. The world's craving, this perspective. And then they go, what if we go with this one? And you go, this numbers are way higher on this one. They go, we can't do that.
Check this out. I'll give everybody some top secret information.
Ooh.
So you can you can Google search this. If you look up like cable channel ad rates, they say, I just said Rachel Maddow because I was looking into it. It's like $8,500, I think, for a 30 seconds. Do you know how much it would cost you for 30 seconds on, okay, so she gets like 3 million viewers. If you found a YouTube video with 3 million views, do you know how much it would cost you to get a promo spot in that YouTube video?
Yeah, I don't know.
3 million? 60 grand.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
About $60,000. If somebody can get 3 million views per video, they're probably selling it for like 50 to like 75, depending on where the ad appears and whether or not they consider themselves to be a premium brand that is better.
And you don't have to film an ad. You just go, hey, also, instead of filming a $1 million commercial, you go, hey, go check out, Tim's Beanies.
Yep. So companies will say, here's the script, promote it, here's what we want to see. And then the YouTubers do all the work. Like when we do the ads, I just read and talk about the product. And so
it actually costs less because you don't have to make it.
I would say that it costs more money, probably. Well, it's hard to say. Depending on the segment we do, it can cost more money to advertise on this podcast than it would on Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
Easily.
So.
That's crazy. The old world is in decay.
Yeah.
So anyway, the main point of this segment, because it's like we've veered into a bunch of different subjects,
this
is
has kind of gotten
I would never sign a contract with any of these big networks. If Fox News or CNN or if CNN and MSNBC came to me and they were like, would you like to sign? I'd be like, surely you jest. If Fox News came to me, I would also be like, are you kidding? No, not going to happen. I wouldn't sign with any of these companies. Now, for the digital media ones, I think it's great that they're smarter and doing better in their business models. But you know what we're going to do? We're launching a new podcast soon. It's going to be crime, cults, mystery, and the paranormal. It's going to be evergreen stories, not news related. We've got some crazy stuff we're getting lined up. It's legit. So we've got some like potential cult members and people who deny ever being in a cult.
Guests.
Yeah, so it's going to be like cool guests. It's going to be like a bit of scripted. But we're going to start producing this content, and we're going to create a new site that's going to be, nonpartisan content. So it'll have talk, it'll have jokes, it'll have entertainment, and then we're going to create something bigger and better than all of these other platforms, and it needs to happen.
I want to build like like these multi-channel networks kind of thing and like start like an organization, but I want to make sure that the people that we sign and empower are fully empowered, that we don't like end up ripping them off with like, we own your content, we own your ad revenue. Like I want to give people an opportunity.
Old school, bro.
I know.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Think about this. There are a lot of companies that say, we're going to sign you and you'll start a new YouTube channel and we'll pay you, but we keep the YouTube channel. And I'm like, why? What happens when the contract is up? Are you going to produce content? Let's say someone signs you, Ian, and they're like, you'll make a YouTube channel, but we own the YouTube channel. A year later, the channel's dead. It's making like pennies a month, worthless, and you don't produce anymore. What are they going to do? Is some like executive going to be like, I'm John for the Ian channel? They tried doing it. Discovery tried doing this. I think it was Now This. Was it Now This?
That sounds right.
They bought Discovery or something. And then, or something happened, and then they changed. It was like one of the Discovery channels turned into a Now This channel. Everyone was like, we don't want this. We didn't subscribe to this. You can't turn Netflix into Amazon and then expect everyone to just be like, okay. So it's dumb now, the way the traditional media works, saying, make a social media channel and we own it. Great. So in 2 years, you'll have a dead property. That's stupid. Let the person keep it as part of the incentive package.
Definitely.
I don't want to own it. They're your followers. I'm not going to take your Twitter from you. But you know that these big cable channels do this? When you get hired, they make you create a new Twitter they own.
It's crazy.
Yep.
It's like the second POTUS Twitter.
The second POTUS?
Yeah, like the president has his old Twitter, and then he gets his new president Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
everybody has
Yep.
two.
And then they have to transfer it over. It makes sense to have in your contract, like, you'll make the channel, and for the duration of our contract, we get the revenue from it, and we control it as if we did own it. Upon your contract ending, then
Well, a lot
we'll
of
arrange
times, I
the
guess
transfer.
they keep the show going without you. That's the other thing they reserve.
Well, but I mean, like, a lot of these deals that are happening now with YouTube are like, we're going to sign you to do a new YouTube show that you host because people really like you, and then we keep the channel. And I'm like, okay, then keep the dead IP after I leave. It makes no sense. The deal should be...
Yeah, but then they go Timcast in IRL hosted by DJ Qualls.
DJ Qualls?
Yeah.
Wow, what a throwback to that guy. Where did that come from?
I just thought it would be a good replacement.
I was telling Tim that
Dude, I'd be stoked to have him on the show. That'd be awesome.
I
What has
want
he
to
been
do
up to?
like build a network like that where you empower the user to own their own content and to like see them flourish, but you just kind of create like a seed organization.
That's like an MCN a little
yeah,
bit.
but like inverted, where you're not in it to rip these guys off. You really want to see them get better, because that's how you attract the best
I'm
people
sure
anyway.
if you asked them, they wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, we're in this to rip these guys off."
Right.
They all start like that.
Well, I was involved with Maker Studios in the early days.
Yeah,
and
the big one.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the contracts go awry. Like Philip DeFranco was part of it in the very beginning, and they wanted all his revenue. And he was like, "Why am I?" Realized pretty quick. He was the first one to realize, like, "Why am I doing all this work and paying all this revenue to Maker when I could just be keeping it all myself?" Peace,
Right.
guys. So I took that as like, I learned my lesson
I've had
from
a lot
that.
of conversations with these YouTube people, and you're kind of like, I don't listen. I'm like a loopy guy, but I don't think I'm stupid. And then I like have these conversations, and they sell me the whole pitch, and I go, okay, I just listen to you talk for like 20 minutes, and I, like, honest to God, have no idea what you do.
Going for.
What do you guys do? I go,
right,
what do
well,
these companies do?
I have
They're
a-
like, no, and we have take your channel, and there's like tips and tricks, and we maximize this and maximize, and you go, what are you talking about? What do you do?
I have a big announcement to make, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today with Ryan Long on the spot. I'm going to make him an offer right now to join the new network. Now, here's the deal. We're going to make a new channel, and we're going to call it Ryan Long Comedy 2. We own it. We get all the money.
Didn't you just tell me this is the
And-
worst idea? And no idiot would take this.
That's the joke.
And
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But then
We keep
Ian,
it. You can't have it.
Ian started talking
But
about
you'll work 80
I will play
hours a week.
Ryan.
making all the money, and then Tim's like,
And we're-
I didn't
and-
forgot about this making all the money part.
Yeah.
And we're replacing you with Ian.
Yes.
Oh,
When-
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
Once the
recasting
contract's
Ryan
up.
Long.
Yeah.
No. We're just straight up doing it. We're buying you and then recasting you with Ian.
Buying the IP.
Yeah, I'm in
Perfect.
Ryan Long comedy too.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Lose.
Starring Ian Crossland.
It's number 2, and it's there's like a little poop emoji because it's double entendre. That's how-
Perfect.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.